Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now guys, a lot of people would hold General Babangida responsible for most of the problems that Nigeria is undergoing today, and rightly so. A lot of people would trace a lot of the problems that the Nigerian state has to that June 12th thing when it cancelled the election, which would have then been the precursor to the best democratic dispensation that Nigeria could have experienced, and Nigeria could also then have experienced the acumen of President Abiola, which might then have propelled us to a higher height than where we are now, which is the depths of low. So a lot of people hold Babangida responsible for that. A lot of people also hold General Babangida responsible for the level of corruption that that country has been experiencing for the past 35 years, and rightly so as well. General Babangida singularly introduced a new level of corruption in Nigeria that has never been seen before. It actually transcended corruption to criminality and outright stealing, because these people were just going into the coffers of the states, both at the federal, state and local government level, and just taking out money, effectively stealing money. This is what they were doing. And you recall during Babangida's time then also, they used to burn down a lot of parastatals, especially in Lagos then. So they would loot the parastatal dry, and then they'll burn the building down to burn down all the records and everything. And if the guard guarding the place is burnt along with the building, then so be it. This was a lot of the things that was going on during the Babangida era, to the point that Babangida is said to have institutionalized corruption in Nigeria. So this is the perception of Babangida, and these perceptions are grounded on firm footing. They are grounded on solid footing because they are based on the antecedents of this man. They are based on what he has done, which is on the record books. So this perception of Babangida are based on the things that he has done. So this is a perception of Babangida. But for me, Babangida has always been the most civilized president that Nigeria has ever had. That doesn't discount everything that I've said, or it doesn't counter it, and it doesn't make it untrue. The two can run in parallel. It can be a civilized human being in conduct as well as a corrupt person in conduct too. You know, a gentleman thief sort of a thing. So this is really how I see this guy. This guy is probably singularly the most civilized. I cannot think of a more civilized president that Nigeria has ever had. Maybe Gowon. Gowon was civilized too. So apart from Gowon, then Babangida would be the most civilized person that has ever run that country. Although he was a military dictator, so really that in itself is a fraudulent act too. So that discounts him also in a manner, but then by whatever means, he seized control of the country. But during the time that he had preeminence over that country, his conduct largely was that of a civilized person. And one of the things that civilizes him is his abiding by the rule of law. You will recall that under a military dispensation, the militaries in Nigeria rule the country by decrees. So they don't go by the constitution. The first thing they do is to suspend the constitution, and then they rule by decrees, effectively a do what I like sort of approach to governance. So they rule by decree, but then of course the constitution still underpins the greater structure of the country. So now whenever there's a court judgment against the Babangida regime, he would make sure to ensure that that court order is abided by, because he understood that everybody, even from the head of state to his driver, is bound by the rule of law. Because if you do not have the rule of law, if the law is not paramount as the arbiter in a society, then you have an uncivilized society. And if you have an uncivilized society which has no structure, then you are living really at a base level, almost like animals, really, effectively. So he has this understanding. So he always abided by the rule of law first, and then he might go challenge it later and then go do something else to subvert it. But first, it will abide by the rule of law. So that is one of the things that I've always thought civilizes this guy, along with other things as well, the way he carries himself and his conduct and his presentation man is always that of a civilized man. So with that, guys, I bring you this hate speech bill. IBB backs Nigerians, says death penalty crude and wicked. So that's the headline. Hate speech. IBB backs Nigerians, says death penalty crude and wicked. So now let's see what Maradona has to say this time around. Following the passage of the controversial hate speech bill for second reading in the Nigerian Senate, ex-military leader Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida IBB has declared that nobody can muzzle Nigerians. The former head of state also described the death penalty in the bill as crude and wicked. According to Babangida, who spoke in his Minna Uphill residence, nobody can deny Nigerians their freedom of speech. He disclosed this when he received the national president of the Nigerian Union of Journalists NUJ, Chief Christopher Isiguzo, who visited him. The former head of state recalls that a similar bill was presented before the 8th National Assembly and he advised against it. I am surprised that this bill has resurfaced. There is no basis for it now. We are developing. We should be allowed to develop. If we make mistakes, people can be cautioned. If somebody goes off, you have the right to call him to say, no, we don't want this. Unless people are able to express themselves, those in government or in authority will not know what is happening in the country. He also claims the bill was an eye service by the sponsor. If somebody makes hate speech, put him in the gallows and not shoot him. It is crude and out of tune with the 21st century reality. It could have happened maybe 300 years ago, but not now. Meanwhile, the United Nations has reacted to the hate bill that proposed capital punishment. The United Nations Deputy Secretary General Hajiya Amina Mohammed on Tuesday, November the 26th, said that whilst the move against hate speech is commendable, the death penalty aspect of the proposed bill should be scrapped. So there you have it now. So what now constitutes hate speech is really where the question is, because these people are just going to be using this statute to start beheading people, and they will start as early as next year if this bill passes through and is assented into law. This is a stifling freedom of speech bill along with the social media bill. So what they are effectively trying to do, because you recall that under Buhari's first dispensation as the military head of state, he had a decree 4 which he was using to stifle the media houses. So anybody that was critical of his regime, he locked them up then. So now he's going that step further. He wants to start beheading them effectively. So effectively, a beheading bill is really how we have to see this sort of a thing, to the point that a fellow military dictator, Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, is recoiling from it. So if Babangida, this is Babangida by the way, how many coup plotters has this guy tied to the drums in Bar Beach, Bamanvasta and the rest of them? So Babangida is no shrinking violet. So if Babangida is recoiling from this, then that tells you that this is a real extreme. He is going as far as to say that this is a throwback to 300 years ago, effectively accusing this Malam Buhari regime of being backwards. Then, of course, we don't need Babangida to tell us that Malam Buhari is backward, or everybody knows that Malam Buhari is backward. But now to the point now, though, that his paddy man, his body, his fellow coup plotter is saying that even this is now too much. You now really need to rein yourself in. But then, of course, Buhari has no capacity to rein himself in. This is a man, this is a dichotomous man, this Buhari character. This is a man of no knowing that has attributed to himself extreme knowing. So this is a man that of no real intelligence, who has attributed to himself the highest of intelligence. So this is really where the problem is. This is a man that doesn't know that much about that much, but thinks he knows a lot about everything. In fact, he thinks he knows everything about everything, and I think the way that he sees life is the way life is, even though life outside of how he sees it is actually the way life is. Because this is a man, of course, of a very narrow and parochial view. This is a man that's not really traveled outside of Daura in many ways. He may get on an aeroplane and go to London, but this is a man that has never mentally left Daura. He doesn't have the capacity to see beyond tribe and religion. We all know this. So if you know that you are that narrow a view, then you can't be rigid in that narrowness, because then you are pulling everything back to your level. And this is what we are seeing now, and this is what Babangida is crying out to when he's saying that this is a throwback to 300 years ago. So effectively accusing Buhari of being backward. But then, of course, as I said, we don't need him to make that accusation. We've always been aware that this man is a backward man. So now, conversations in the comment section, Babangida has now felt the need. And by the way, Babangida has always been one of those that never really likes to come out to speak about any regime, because he doesn't want the focus to be on him, because of obviously all of the money that he took out of the Nigerian space. Because when he starts to talk, of course, they start to shine the torchlight on him to say, okay, all that, how much was it, 12 point something billion Gulf oil money, they go back to that and all that. So he doesn't want really the focus on him, and he doesn't really want any government paying attention to him. But this has now gotten to that point, and Babangida has now gotten to that age, and Obasanjo as well, by the way, because these are men now well into their 80s, I should imagine. So now what more is there for them to fear? You know, is it that Buhari will come and gun them down? Well, you know, so if he guns them down at 82, 83, 84, then, you know, is it not just saving them the aches and pains that they will suffer for 2, 3, 4 years? But God grant them long life anyway. Let me not put a time limit on anybody's, you know. But really, these people have gone beyond the level that they should be in fear of anyone, so they can speak their mind now. But then, of course, we know how vindictive Buhari is, so he will not only go after them, he will go after their family too. But now, never mind that, and being the soldier that he is, Babangida has now felt the need to say, look, this is crude and vulgar and backward, and really there has to be a stop point to all this nonsense. Let the people have their say, and you do what you have to do in government. If you are saying, for instance, let's use an example. Let's say the Nigerian people are saying, there's no airport in Lagos, and they are going all over social media to say there's no airport in Lagos, and they're saying all over the place that there's no airport in Lagos. You can then go to Ikeja now and take a photograph and say, this is an airport in Lagos now. If they're saying there's no airport in Abuja, you can then go to Abuja and take a snap and put it next to that article that say, but this is an airport now. So let your work be the answer to the criticism that the people are giving you, rather than you using hate speech bill to do beheading in Nigeria. We don't have a history of beheading in Nigeria, and we don't really want this sort of thing introduced into our statute books, into our lexicon, into our way of speech. Because if you look at the language of this Buhari regime, everything has changed to a rigid, dark, clouds of foreboding all the way through from 2015. Effectively, it's like dark clouds and rigid tones, and we're talking whispers now. And if you contrast that then with the Goodluck Jonathan regime, when there was like endless freedom of speech, you can say anything, and the guy will then point to an achievement and say, look, you are saying this, but I have done that. So what he does, or what he did, Goodluck Jonathan, was to counter your criticism with an achievement. But then what these people are trying to do now is to counter criticism with death penalty. This cannot work, to the point that the United Nations is recoiling from it, to the point that Babangida is recoiling from it, and to the point that Nigerians are going to protest the Senate in Abuja. Conversations in the comment section. What is your take? Babangida has now felt the need to put his head above the parapet and have his say. So you come have your say. But before you do this, Click on the red subscribe button so it turns gray. Bell button notifies you every time I drop a new video. Then come tell me what you are making of this goings on in the comment section. So I'll leave you here. Join you in the comment section. But here I say peace.